After 15 years of marriage, I never expected to feel like an outsider in my own family. One emotional confrontation changed everything. I, Stacy, 42F, never imagined I'd be navigating the complexities of blended family life the way I am today. My husband, Harry, 46M, and I have been married for 15 years, but our story began much earlier. It all started at a local coffee shop where I worked part-time while finishing my degree in social work. Harry was a regular, always ordering the same thing, a large black coffee and a blueberry muffin. He often brought his twins, Lucas and Lydia, who were 7 at the time but are now 25. I remember vividly the first time I saw them. Harry looked completely exhausted, juggling 2 energetic kids while trying to balance his briefcase and coffee. I offered to help, carrying their treats to a table. That small gesture sparked a conversation, and over the next few months, we became friends. As we grew closer, Harry opened up about his life as a widower. His wife, Anna, had passed away when the twins were only 3, after a fierce battle with breast cancer. She was diagnosed not long after giving birth, and despite her treatment, she didn't survive. Harry was left to raise 2 toddlers on his own while managing his career as a high school history teacher. The more Harry and I talked, the more I found myself empathizing with both him and the twins. Lucas, who was quiet and reserved, seemed to find comfort in staying close to his father, while Lydia, though more outgoing, was often overwhelmed by her emotions, leading to occasional outbursts. It was clear to me that, despite the years that had passed, both children were still grappling with the deep pain and confusion caused by losing their mother at such a tender age. My heart softened toward them as I began to understand their struggles more intimately, and before long I found myself eagerly anticipating their visits, even on the days I wasn't working. After nearly a year of friendship, Harry asked me out on a proper date. We were both nervous. For Harry, it was the anxiety of dating again after losing Anna, and for me, the concern about how my presence might affect Lucas and Lydia, who had already been through so much. Despite these fears, we decided to give it a try. Slowly, our relationship blossomed. We made a conscious decision to take things slow, particularly for the sake of the twins. I didn't even meet them as Harry's girlfriend until we had been dating for 6 months. When I did, we kept things casual. We spent time together on outings to the park or had quiet movie nights at home. I wanted them to feel comfortable with me, but I also knew that they were still grieving their mother in ways that only time could heal. After dating for 2 years, Harry asked me to move in with them. The twins were 9 by then, and their reactions were mixed. Lucas withdrew even more, barely speaking to me for weeks, while Lydia, who was initially excited, began to act out. She threw tantrums and tested every boundary. It was a tough period for all of us. I was struggling to find my place in this already established family while also trying to honor the memory of Anna, who had been such an integral part of their lives. Harry and I spent many late nights talking about how to navigate these tricky waters, and we even considered couples therapy to help us work through the tension. Over time, things improved. I made a real effort to bond with the twins. With Lucas, I discovered his love for building model airplanes, so we started working on projects together. Lydia and I found our connection through a Saturday pottery class that became our special time together. Slowly but surely, we started to feel more like a family. A year later, Harry proposed, but before I could say yes, we sat down with Lucas and Lydia to discuss it. We wanted them to feel involved in the decision. It wasn't an easy conversation. Lydia asked if I was trying to replace her mom, while Lucas wanted to know if he'd have to call me mom now. We reassured them that I wasn't there to replace Anna and that they could call me whatever they felt comfortable with. In the end, they gave their blessing, and we got married in a small, intimate ceremony in our backyard. The twins stood by our sides, Lucas as the best man and Lydia as the maid of honor. It wasn't perfect, but it felt right. The years that followed were a mixture of joy and challenges. We had our fair share of family vacations, movie nights, and holiday traditions. But we also dealt with the rebellious teenage years, academic struggles, and the ever-present grief the twins carried as they began to understand more about the mother they'd lost. I did my best to be there for them without overstepping. I helped with homework, attended their school events, and even learned to bake Anna's famous chocolate chip cookies from an old recipe card they had kept. There were moments when I felt like I was part of the family, like when Lydia asked me to help her shop for her first bra, or when Lucas confided in me about his first crush. But there were also times when I felt like an outsider. Every year, on Anna's birthday, Harry and the twins would visit her grave together while I stayed home. Family gatherings with Harry's parents often involved reminiscing about Anna, and I never quite knew how to contribute. Despite these feelings, we managed to develop a decent relationship over the years. It wasn't perfect, but we made it work. I always hoped Lucas and Lydia would see me as more than just their father's wife, maybe even as a parental figure, but I understood that it might never happen. Fast forward to the present. Last month, Lydia gave birth to her first child, a beautiful baby girl. She and her husband, Jake, named her Annabelle in honor of Lydia's late mother, Anna, and Jake's grandmother, Belle, when they announced the news on social media. Lydia wrote a heartfelt post explaining how they had chosen the name to honor both grandmothers. I was genuinely happy for them. I remembered holding Lydia's hand as she prepared for her wedding day, and now she was a mother herself. But when I read the comments on the post, I couldn't help feeling a twinge of hurt. Everyone was gushing about how beautiful it was that they had honored both grandmothers. It suddenly hit me that, in their eyes, I wasn't considered a grandmother at all. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. After all, this was Lydia and Jake's moment, and I didn't want to take anything away from that. So I liked the post, left a congratulatory comment, and tried to push my feelings aside. A week later, we had a family dinner to celebrate Annabelle's arrival. Lucas and his wife, Emma, were there, and they're expecting their first child in a few months. During dinner, Lucas casually mentioned that they were thinking of naming the baby after Harry if it was a boy, or after Emma's mother if it was a girl. That familiar ache resurfaced, but I smiled and nodded along with everyone else. After dinner, I slipped out onto the porch for some air. My sister Jenny was visiting, and she followed me out. Jenny and I have always been close. She's been my confidante through this entire journey of becoming a stepmother. She could tell something was wrong, and after some gentle prodding, I opened up to her. I told her how, even after 15 years, I still felt like an outsider in my own family. I confessed that I knew it was silly to feel hurt over baby names, but it made me realize that I might never truly be seen as family by the twins. What I didn't realize was that Harry had come looking for me and overheard part of the conversation. After Jenny went back inside, Harry confronted me. He was upset that I hadn't shared my feelings with him, insisting that as my husband and the twins' father, he should have been the first to know. I tried to explain that I didn't want to burden him or create any tension between him and the kids. I knew there was nothing that could be done about the situation. Relationships and feelings couldn't be forced. But Harry was insistent that he needed to talk to the twins about making me feel more included. I begged him not to. I knew it would only make things awkward and might even damage the relationship I had worked so hard to build with Lucas and Lydia. Harry accused me of keeping secrets, saying he had a right to know what was going on in his family. The conversation escalated into a heated argument, with Harry accusing me of being selfish for not confiding in him, and me feeling like he was completely missing the point. Now, things at home are tense. Harry is still upset that I went to Jenny instead of him, and I'm frustrated that he can't see why I kept my feelings to myself. The twins are coming over for a family barbecue this weekend, and I'm dreading it. I don't know how to act around them, knowing that Harry might say something. Should I have confided in my husband, even though I knew it would cause problems? Am I wrong for trying to keep the peace? I'm at a loss for what to do next. Update 1. A month has passed since my last post, and things have taken a surprising turn. The barbecue I had been dreading actually turned out to be a pivotal moment for our family. Despite my pleas, Harry decided to have that conversation with the twins about including me more. As I had feared, it didn't go well initially. The day started off normally. Harry was grilling, I was setting the table, and the twins arrived with their partners and baby Annabelle. Everything seemed fine, but I could sense the tension in Harry after dinner. He cleared his throat and announced that we needed to have a family discussion. What followed was an emotional, raw conversation about the past 15 years, our joys, our struggles, and the unspoken feelings that had been festering under the surface. Lucas and Lydia opened up about their loyalty to their mother's memory, and I shared the insecurities I had been carrying for so long. By the end, something had shifted. We cried together, but more importantly, we finally understood each other. Now, our relationships are stronger, and for the first time, I truly feel like part of the family.